Hi, I'm Wendy Edson. Thank you so much for joining us for the Q&A of Entwined. I hope you enjoyed the movie as much as I did, and I also hope that you take the time to vote. I believe it's available. It's up for an audience award, so we want you to vote on all the films that you see in the festival, and we'll be giving those awards on the final night of the festival, Sunday evening, starting at 5. I want to thank so much our major sponsors of the festival, as well as the ones for this specific film, and that is Mary L. Bianco and the Mocha Foundation, and Films for Good and Bob and Christine Williams, who are sponsors of this entire Central Coast Filmmaker Showcase category. So thank you very much to them for all their support of this festival. I'm delighted to introduce our guests for this wonderful Q&A. We have some very interesting people and actors and filmmakers. So first of all, I know everything's sort of in different orders on people's screens. So I'm gonna just ask you to raise your hand as I introduce you, if you wouldn't mind. Starting with the filmmaker, the director, writer, and producer, is that also right? Yeah, Dale Griffiths-Stamos. Welcome, Gail, and welcome back to our festival too.
Thank
I think
you.
this is the third
time. Yeah.
Yeah, so welcome back. And then 2 cast members, Suzanne Ford is with us, and also Stephen Howard. Thank you so much for joining us. And finally, the DP, or the cinematographer and editor, Sean Blodgett. Thank you for joining us too.
Thanks for having me.
So I am just going to kick off with a couple of questions, and then also just feel free to chat as you will about your experiences of making this movie. I loved it. So Entwined. It's a really interesting story, and I guess I just want to start there. Like, where did the story come from, and what made you want to make this movie? I guess that's one for Dale.
Well, it's interesting because I think there were a couple of impetuses. I wonder what the plural of that is. Impeti. There's a right.
Sounds right.
For writing this, one of them was that a friend of mine had a very similar experience as this, that she saw someone that she had loved very much in high school, and saw him many years later. And they had broken up for those reasons, that they were an interracial couple. I also remember that I was trying to write things for my best friend, who is African American and is in that age range. And I was originally writing a play version for him. And then when I took to adapting plays to short films, this one just was one that, had absolutely meant a lot to me, and I decided to adapt it to film. And even interestingly enough, when we cast Michael Dorn in the film, for those who don't know, he's in the Star Trek franchise, both TV and film, in that he plays Worf. When you take all of the Vulcan makeup off of him, is it Vulcan, or is he?
No, he's a Klingon.
He's a Klingon. You see, yeah. I need my resident
nerd.
Dare you?
We're gonna be mad.
My resident nerd to get the Vulcan versus Klingon, nomenclature properly. At any rate, with all his Klingon makeup, you don't realize what an incredibly handsome man, and I think Suzanne would attest to that.
I agree.
He is, yes, that he is. And when I approached him, and I had a friend in common who I asked her, do you think it would be all right to approach him about this short film? And she said, sure, give it a try. Well, it turned out that in fact, Michael had a similar experience as this. And so it really resonated with him, which, was interesting. But, now in today's world, I just feel like this is still such, or even more so, a pertinent topic.
Yeah, sadly, you're right, I think.
Sadly.
Yeah, we all would have thought we'd come a lot farther. Let me ask each one of you, if you could just take turns, just tell me how you got involved in this project. start with Sean.
I met Dale working on another project. She's a part of another producing group that was producing like a promotional piece for a new web series. And I was friends with some of the producers on that, and they hired me to DP and edit that. And I met Dale on set. In fact, the very first day we were having such a grand time together right out of the gate. She was like, I have some shorts I want to do. We should talk. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I have a boutique production company myself. And so I produce, shoot, and edit. And it was, a lot of my work is commercial. So it's been really nice to work on narrative, to really get a chance to delve into character. I come from an acting background, so I'm very familiar with that side of it and being in front of the camera as well. So it was a great partnership right out of the gate, and we've worked on quite a few things since then. So yeah.
Great. Suzanne, I just want to compliment the cast too for this film. Everybody is fabulous. So
thank you.
So yeah,
It's a lovely script. It was very moving to me when I read it. I auditioned, and it just seemed to fit. And then for the second time I auditioned, I read with Michael, and then we seemed to fit. And it just seemed very easy to work with him and to work with Dale. I found it a wonderful combination of simple and real, but dealing with very complex and difficult, as we all know, issues. And I thought that was a great juxtaposition. It was kind of symbolic of the relationship, because the two people in high school are drawn to each other naturally and authentically and genuinely, and yet the outside forces they have to face finally drive them apart. And it's like, classically tragic, like Romeo and Juliet. It's one of those stories in your life or in other people's lives or in drama that you don't forget, because the tragedy is so exquisite. So I was drawn to it because of that. I just loved the story, and I loved the dialogue, and the whole situation was also very simple, in a gallery by accident, and then everything comes sweeping back, and I can imagine that. So that's what it was like.
I agree with the simplicity of it was very, it made it even better. But there was a lot going on underneath, and including Stephen's character, which is an awkward one.
Yes, and I love that Steve was so, you know how you can tell what a person is like by the person he or she marries or is with for life. And Steve's character, not unlike Steve himself, is easygoing and decent and a good person. And you could see right away, nobody knows how to deal with this kind of thing.
Right.
And as a good human being, you want to do what's right. So, I mean, that was a bonus, because Steve and I had worked together before, and many moons ago when we were both children, and it was really great to work with him again.
Well, you definitely had good chemistry. Stephen, how did you also audition, or how did you end up?
Well, we had a mutual friend, Dale and I, Jacinta, who's also the producer on this, had brought me in to help out with another project. I was a reader for some rehearsal period, a short film that they were working on. And then Dale asked me to do this, and then I saw that Suzanne was on board, and I'd fallen in love with her like 20 years earlier. And I thought, wow, this is perfect.
Surprise.
Finally, we're getting together, but of course we're not. Once again, impediment. When we met, of course, she had a husband. Well, I think she still does. And so that definitely got in the way. And then clearly in this story, she's fallen in love. She's still in love with this other guy, but I'm determined not to acknowledge that in my character, at least,
Yeah.
But that's how I came to it. And it was a great experience. I love that we actually had time to rehearse it and get together
Yes.
before we went
Oh,
to
you
shoot, and just work through the script and explore it in ways. That's one of my favorite things to do, actually, on a project. And the pressure's off, I guess, then, and you can just try to find the subtext and the truth in it, and understand the relationships, and also get to know the other people that you're involved with. And I love that we got to do that, Dale. And
Yeah, tell us about that process, Dale. How much time was that?
Well,
That was a rehearsal process.
because I come from theater, I think I have a different approach. And I know that Suzanne and Steve have very deep theater backgrounds as well. And so for me, it's a no-brainer. I can't imagine moving into anything without a rehearsal. I think we had several. I can't remember how many we actually had, but we had, I believe, a read through and then at least one more actual rehearsal. So yes, for me that and I found, I've now done 6 short films. The first 3 I wrote, and the last 3 I wrote and directed. And what I found when I began to direct is how much I like working with actors. It's a real treat. I mean, all the technical stuff, thank God for Sean, because I don't know from lenses. I'm sorry, I just don't. I mean, he's going to teach me eventually because we keep working together, but I don't know the technical
Complicated.
stuff.
Yeah, that's
It's
complicated. and technical.
I have ideas about angles. I have very strong ideas. When we're in the editing room, Sean and I work very closely together. He always gives me a first pass, of course, but then I get very involved. But on set, for me, the focus is the actors. And then, however we're framing that particular scene. And of course, Sean shares with me his choices and then I approve or not. But for me, the core is the actors. And I'm going to continue directing because I just love that. And I have to say, these 2 particular actors, I didn't really have much doubt when they came in, because I had already, as Steve said, known some of his work, but I also saw that he was perfect for the part. And Suzanne, we had lots of women come in for that part. But for me, it was pretty clear. She came in and there just was something, especially Suzanne, like you said, when you read with Michael, there was such magic between the 2 of you. That was so lovely. And Steve, I did want to mention one thing about Steve's acting. There's this feeling when he pats her and says, "All right, don't be long."
Yeah.
That, yes, he's trying to not acknowledge what's happening in the room. But there's also, I have to say, in the way he acted, certainty that they are strong, that their relationship will prevail. I think he knows that he can allow her to have this moment with this old love, because he ultimately knows it's not going to threaten them. And I think that comes across in Steve's sort of gentle handling of her at that moment in particular.
Yes, I did too. It shows how unselfish he is as a husband.
Yes,
which is the reason I will stay with him.
exactly,
So it kind of
Yeah.
all makes sense.
Yeah,
exactly. And
that
this
was
is
really well
why,
done. I agree.
yeah, and this is why acting is so important. I mean, it's just so important. You know, they always say casting, and I was the casting director. I mean, I'll just wear every hat anyone will hand me, you know. Just everything. I chose the music. I mean, you know, so the point being that I wanted to be very intimately involved in casting, because casting, you know, they say it's 90%. It absolutely is.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I,
you did a
I felt,
beautiful job.
yeah,
And having, just knowing that this is your third film in our festival, I'm it's sort of exciting for me to watch you continue to grow as a filmmaker. And yeah, I mean, I just was
thank
really,
you.
really impressed by this movie. So
Well, thank you
um,
so much.
yeah, I'm excited about what's coming up next. Have you had a chance to do anything since shooting
Yeah,
this?
yeah. Well, I will tell you, I just yesterday asked these two lovely actors to do a reading for me of a full-length play that I've just completed.
Oh, wow.
And I've gotten two other actors that I've worked with before to sign on. And so we're going to be working on that. I've also done a director that I've worked with. She and I wrote something, and she and I and Sean have worked on that one together. And that's a short that we will be putting out there, have just begun to put out there. So because it was all post-production work, we were able to do it during these times. So I do have another short that I wrote and was involved in some of the editing and music. And beyond that, I'm working on feature-length plays and feature-length and full-length scripts.
Wow.
Full-length plays and feature-length scripts.
Good for you. I guess COVID has been an advantage for a lot of creative people who have taken advantage of the
Yeah.
downtime. Sounds like
Yeah.
you're one of those people.
Well, it was nice because I went to I think 21 festivals in 2020. No, I think I went to 26 in 2020, but 4 of them were live in February. And then
Wow.
I got back just in time for you guys to say, we're going virtual. And I already
Yeah, we
booked the place
canceled
to
5.
stay.
Yeah, I know. We canceled 5 days before we were supposed to start. It was pretty
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
heartbreaking, but
Yeah.
that was the first of what became 21 virtual ones that I did last year. But the advantage was I was home. I could attend all these festivals and still write, which I wouldn't
Yes.
have done had I been
Yes,
traveling.
that's
So there
true.
were some
Yeah,
advantages.
time and finance saving.
Yeah.
So,
Well, can I say one quick thing? I
please
don't know
do.
if you have another thing. I want to particularly do a shout out to Sean because, right, everybody? I mean,
Yes.
first of all, he's a one-man band, kind of like I am. He does all kinds of things on the set. I mean, he's the focus puller. I mean, you know, he's the everybody. We have a boom operator, and you know, he does sound too. He does all of that, which helped for me for budget in particular. But also, Sean and I have really developed a relationship in which we have such a good system of communication. And boy, is it important for a director to have a DP and an editor with whom they can work so wonderfully. And so I just wanted to thank Sean for
Well,
that.
thank you. That's very kind. And
True.
you're a joy to work with, and all 3 of them were a joy to work with. And if I can do a quick shout out story to all 3. So first with, of course, Dale, I love working with you on set, but in particular in post-production, one of the things that was great in the editorial phase, a lot of times I'll deliver, because being a filmmaker myself, I may have a take on an edit or a moment that I'm going to submit to the director, and here's my version of what I think this could be. And sometimes I'll get notes back, and they're fine notes, but to me they're what I call sideways notes. They're not really, it's not better, it's not worse, it's just different, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm here to serve the process. But with Dale, every time I would get notes, it would make me think of something, and I would go, yeah, you're right. And we would go down this path, and it was like, yes, it's better. It's absolutely better. she just had a great, you know, she's got a great sense of timing and energy and an eye for it all. And so it was really nice to work in that way with someone who's giving notes and it's getting better. It's not just different, it's better, you know. So that was exciting. So kudos to you, Dale, for that.
Thank you.
And Suzanne, every time we did it, she's one of those actors that every time we did a different take, she would give us something different. And it wasn't some, you know, big grandiose gesture of anything. It was just, you knew that she was an actor who knew how to make a different choice and give the editorial department an opportunity to go, oh, we could go this way or we could go this way. And it was just so beautiful to watch unfold. Every single take was like, to me, honestly, was just magic, and I loved it. It was
Thank you.
such joy to be behind the camera and see that. And then I'll end on Steven, who I have to say kept us laughing so hard. That he had these moments that he would do that were just really subtle, and he would do some little thing, and you're like, what is it? And I mean, we couldn't even keep it together. It was hilarious, and it was always unexpected. And that's what I'll say about his work was it was always unexpected. The choices were like these little subtle things, or even slightly big, but totally buy it. And it was just honest and beautiful. So
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Thanks, John.
You guys have been a joy to talk to, and also the movie was a joy to watch. So I just want to thank you and congratulate you, and really appreciate you sharing it with our audiences and also doing the Q&A with us as well. And can't wait to see what's next. I know you'll stay in touch with us, Dale, and I hope you do. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you
so much.